You know how we roll in Nigeria. I'll put that on. Okay. So we're live. Awesome. So I'm going to So good afternoon. My name is Ronke Posh, and thanks for being here today. We'll be talking today about collaboration. So collaboration, very, very important. One of the things that we have been instructed as educators, as business owners in the 21st century is to collaborate. We need to collaborate in order to grow, to scale up. And it's even easier to collaborate because we get things done. Even stress, for example, if we're stressed, we can collaborate and get rid of stress issues. Somebody can hold somebody's hands. There's more advice, there's more wisdom, there are more resources when we are collaborating. So it's always advised that we collaborate. It's a 21st century skill, and amongst other ones, such as communication, critical thinking, and the likes. So today I have amazing guests today. You know that only the best come to this show. So I'll be bringing them on to do brief introductions. We'll be doing more detailed introductions as we go along the way. You'll get to know the people that are on here today. They'll be talking about their businesses. They'll be talking about how they have managed to collaborate successfully. Maybe some of us are not godly enough, or we're not good enough to collaborate. I love to collaborate, but I find that it's easier for me to collaborate when it doesn't have anything to do with money. The minute money is involved, people start getting funny and all sorts of things begin to happen. So how can we collaborate successfully? How do we manage conflict? How do we make the right choices when we collaborate? What are the challenges? And then we have legal coming up. Legal will also come up. We have legal Tosin here. She's a legal practitioner, and she'll be telling us how to collaborate in an environment like Nigeria. So Nigeria, for example, it can be quite tough because we know that a lot of lawyers have a price. So when people take it to court, for example, I have a very, very personal example, very close to home, where a property was rented to a lady. She lives in the States, in America now, and she used the school for 26 years, but she only paid the first rent. Now she has built her own school. However, she has refused to pay the rent for her school. Over the last 26 years, the case has been in and out of court. So eventually we got, this family or whatever got another lawyer, and it turned out that lawyer had been paid by this woman for many, many years. And that's why the case wasn't getting any traction. So lawyers, we know in this side of the world, they can be bought. They have a price tag as well. So how can we do it safely? If there are issues, yes, we know that paperwork and all that kind of stuff that people need to do. But we know that in this our terrain, paperwork can mean nothing. It can really, really mean nothing. So we have Tosin Omotoso here that will be with us here today. I will bring up amazing guys here. So we have Dimeji Falano of Edvest Catalyst and Jare Adebayo from Edvest Catalyst. Let me just remove myself because I look like if I'm not if I remove myself, will you even hear me? You wouldn't. So we have these two amazing guys here, and they are partners, and I've seen them. And sometimes for a long time, I didn't know the difference between these two guys. And that's the honest truth. I didn't know which one was Dare or which one was Dimeji. So I just used to pretend as if I knew. It's only recently, to be honest, that I knew the difference. I used to ask my admin, I said, which one is talking now? You know, I didn't know which one, but now I know Dimeji. I know what Dimeji looks like. I know what Dimeji looks like. So is it the collaboration that has made you guys start looking alike? I really don't know. But please do a brief introduction. So they have a very successful organization, or what should I call it, where they provide tech solutions to organizations around the world, and it has gone global right now. And that's one of the reasons why they are here. So who wants to go first? I'll just leave both of you. As long as it doesn't echo, I will just leave both of you and remove myself from the string. So just give us a 1-minute introduction of yourself, please.
Okay. My name is Dimeji Falana. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Edvest Limited, a full-stack software engineer with about 13 years experience in the industry. Let me allow Dari to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitri. So my name is Daria Adebayo. I'm co-founder and COO of Edvest. I'm a salesman and a business analyst, and I've been doing this for over 12 years. Thank you.
So 12 years is a really, really long time, to be honest. 12 years. How long has the business been in existence?
So the business started 2010. We started late 2010 and we got registered early 2011. But
Early
before then,
2011.
yeah, before then, I had a business I was running, and Dimitri also had a business he was running, and then we co-founded a new business. So that's why we're co-founders.
Good. I'm glad you said you had a business that you were running, because this is part of what we want to talk about. Because when people are collaborating, are they just doing one business? Are they doing more than one business at a time? So, Dari, what do you think? So, when you're collaborating and you have other interests, for example, you have other interests, you don't want to be doing only what you and the Meji are doing. Maybe you want to be, let's say, you want to be a dancer, for example. I can see you dancing. So, how do you manage that without offending him?
Okay, so I think it depends on the partnership, the model of the partnership in the first place will play a great deal there, and as well. As much as possible, myself and Dimitri were so passionate about what we're doing that it has even become impossible to think of other things. However, I will also say that it's possible that, of course, it's not possible for me to just be focused on one thing. I would have some little things I want to do by the side. So it depends on the kind of partnership that you are doing. If you want to engage in other things, then you must be sure that whatever you are doing is not in competition or is not in conflict with the primary business you are doing with the other party. And I think it also depends on the stage of the life of the business. When you're just starting a business, the business needs you 24/7. So if at that time you have something else you are doing, then the business will not get a good part of it, you'll not get a good part of your input. But as time goes on, when the business is so established and it can run on its own, you have a team that can successfully drive the business, then you can also think of doing some other things. I don't think there's anything bad in that. But
Okay, so what I'm getting for you is that we don't just do a business in collaboration alone. So the Meiji is back. So we're not just doing a business on our own. There's a time when we need the energy, the capacity to put into the business. So you can't be saying, I'm running Edvest and then I'm running Dari Adebayo and I'm running the Meiji, and there's conflict. Because we find that a lot of people already, now we're saying we should collaborate at schools, for example. I'm already running a school. If I want to collaborate on another school, they're running their own school. So we can merge maybe, because there are different types of collaborations and acquisitions and mergers, which Chosi will talk about. So how do we do it? If I want to collaborate as an educator now with somebody else, what will be the healthy way to do it?
In all sincerity, I think it has to do with what you want to achieve. So if you are collaborating, like in the case of myself and Dimitri, I was running the company, here at the company. We forgot about the company. We merged the company together. We merged the customers of the company, and we registered a new name, and we started running that new company. So if anybody had known me before and calls me for the previous company, I'm taking them into the new company. If anybody had knew Dimitri before and called him for the previous company he was running, he brings them into this new company which we have formed. So that might not always be the case for everybody. So for instance, you might have a school and somebody else has a school, and you are collaborating on just one aspect of your school. In that case,
just give me an example, please.
So what can I think of? So maybe you want to have a digital library, for instance. I've seen a lot of persons saying schools should collaborate in terms of tech infrastructure. So maybe you want to have a digital library and you think you can't do it on your own. You can actually collaborate with another school to do that. But if you want to run just one school, run the same way, then it might mean that depending on the agreement, it might mean that you run with one name of one of the partners, or you match and come up with a new name. it is not what I can just say this is how to do it. It has to do with the two parties or the three parties involved and what will sustain the business. Especially in a situation, if one brand is already known. Imagine somebody coming to say maybe he has a particular hardware. He just built an hardware and the hardware will be good for schools. And he wants to collaborate with Edvest. And he's telling us that we should forget about Edvest and form a new name or work with his name. Already, Edvest is an established brand. We have international presence. We've received awards internationally. So such a person partnering with us will actually leverage on Edvest brand. So it will make a lot of sense for him to either partner with us and use our name to push the products we are collaborating together on. I hope that helps.
Yes, it helps, but obviously we're not done yet. So I'm going to bring Dimeji back on the stream. So when we are choosing collaborators, Dimeji, how did it happen? Because I know that you are very spiritual. When you put any post, you put Jesus there. I know that you are the right hand of God. But we need to understand that we all have different faiths. This show, I have people like Fina, for example, she's calling from England. I have people that will come and watch this. It's not a Nigerian thing. It's not an African thing, because a lot of Africans, we like religion and all that kind of stuff. So for you, Dimeji, how did you know that Dare was the right person? How did Dare know that he was the right person? How did it happen for both of you? What advice can you give to people when they're looking for somebody to collaborate with? Because I've tried collaborations, not on a big scale. However, it didn't work out. So that's part of the reason why we're having this conversation. So please let us know, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Talking about the faith, I think is also very important, even because the faith determines your value to some extent. I think for me, how we started was just based on the first need that we saw in the markets. I will just respond to be based on the history. I mean, based on the history, maybe in like 30 seconds or maybe a minute or so. So Dare happened to be one of the guys that are popular in the class, Computer Science 2010 in University of Ilorin, and then he's always everywhere, moving around, doing businesses here and there. And I used to be the software geek guy that we just try to solve problems, just build software around. And then we discovered that there's a bit of alignment when Dare realized that he is very good when it comes to sales, and I realized that I can actually code and develop software. So, and then he had a friend, a senior friend in town in Ilorin, named Amaka, who's the proprietor of the Flora schools around Tanke in Ilorin. So Dare discovered that there was a need for that particular school owner to solve a problem because of inefficiencies around grading system. Different teachers were using grading system in the school, and they were losing the 4-hours record of school fee payment because the school was really growing fast. And then Dare reached out to me to say, okay, Dimeji, I know you write code. You have developed a lot of websites, a lot of applications. So what do you think we can do for this woman? And that was how we just met her, and then we developed the first. I mean, Dare did the analysis, and I developed the first version of the software for them. That was 2009 when we were in 300 level. So and then we just solved the problem, and then we went on a different way. We shared the money, and then when the project failed, we went back together to go and resolve the problem for the clients. And then that was how we discovered that we can actually work together. Because he has a strength, which I am weak in that area, and I have a strength that he is not looking in that direction. So that was how we came together, and it was really simple for us because, talking about faith now, he received an information that he should actually start a business, and I also got my own confirmation on my own that I should go into a business. So that was how we were. Is
this from God? Is this from God?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was how we discovered that, okay, I think we can work together. And we didn't actually set out to actually sign any contract. I don't think we signed any contract even for the first 2-3 years because we just understood each other because we speak a lot. I can remember there was a day they wanted to register our first company, IT Vessel. We actually had a meeting like from I think around 2 p.m. till around 9 p.m. in the night. We're just talking. We're just making, we're just talking to one another. Sometimes communication, making it clear to each other. Okay, these are my values. These are the things that I see in the future. These are the things that I want. And, we talk a lot. And then we were able to set up and start even without any agreements for several years. And I've never seen any of our friends or family members coming to settle Korea for us since then.
That's very interesting. So how do you manage conflict? Because you can't tell me that you don't fight.
Yes, we manage conflict because we always have it in mind that every fight, we've settled this long ago, that every fight is for the progress of the company. And then every fight, you should have it in mind that how will this person feel? And another thing that we also have in mind is that, okay, I have someone that is advising me that Dari is not aware of, and Dari has someone that is advising him that I'm not aware of. So if I do something for him, so what is going to be the advice he's going to get from that person? So I always put that person in my mind anytime I want to do anything. And I always believe that everybody has a taste of what they want to get from a relationship. And we always keep that at the back of our mind. Sometimes, even when we are not even making money, we will always be fighting to say, Daddy, you take this money first. I know you need it. Daddy will say, no, you take this one first. I know you need it. So that's how we actually been able to come together. And when we fight, we still call each other again. We say, okay, just leave that one. Then this one, we have to solve this problem. Are we meeting 4 p.m.? Yeah, we are meeting. Then we are done with it. So every fight will always lead to progress. We don't fight to disappear from the business.
Oh, okay, let me tickle you a bit now, both of you. So do your wives get jealous?
I don't think we've seen anything of such. I could say that fortunately, before we could really say that I want to marry you to my wife, the business has started. Before Dimeji could say, so it was like they knew the partnership. And I think one very important thing that I think worked for us, Dimeji, is the fact that we started from ground zero. It wasn't that Dimeji was bringing one money, I was bringing one money, or there was one money to fight Uber. We actually started from ground zero. And I think that has helped us a lot. And aside from that, we've taken it beyond partnership. Members of my family will ask me, how is Dimeji? If they are doing a function in his family, I will go. If we're doing a function in my family, he will come. My brothers will not ask me, how's your partner? They will say, how is Dimeji? That means they know him. So we've come to understand each other, and then it has really helped us a lot. We've taken it beyond just business to business, and then we're taking it as brothers that we're running this thing together, and it must succeed. And of course, yes, we fight. I don't think it's possible for any relationship to fight, but it's not as if we fight and I don't talk to you tomorrow. In fact, sometimes we fight on chat, and then we will call to say, guy, Alpha, how do we settle this and this? And then I will not say, have you forgotten we are fighting? We're not keeping grudges. We're fighting in the interest of the business. Every fight is in the interest of the business.
I love what he said. He said every fight is in the interest of the business. It's not personal. So we have to learn that we should not take anything personal when we're collaborating with somebody. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to take a 1-minute break, and I'm going to bring Mr. and Mrs. Nike Ajayi to the stream, and then we'll have a conversation right now. So we're going to take a short break. Let me see. Hang on. Don't mind me lining all these checks up. Okay, so let's go. Okay, we are back. So now we are going to have Mr. and Mrs. You can see them all lovey-dovey together. And Mr. and Mrs. Shola Ajayi, thank you for being here. Please, can you unmute yourself if you haven't already?
Okay. Hello, Paul.
Wonderful. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon.
I love them so much. I'm looking for people to talk about collaboration. I called Sister Nikki and I was like, you guys even work together because you guys are like, I'm like, hello. Why can't I just be like that? We know that. Okay, if you don't mind muting, I'll just do a quick introduction. You can mute your device. So I know that couples also struggle. So this Dimeji and Dari of Edves are not couples like that, married, but you are married couples. And we also know that married couples also have this conflict when they are working together. There was a typical example of something that we heard where the husband was the owner of the land and the wife built the school on the land. Then the school was making a lot of money. Then there were issues about how they're going to share the money, or whatever. I don't know the details, but there were issues. So the man said, "You know what? This is my land. Get rid of the school. It is my land. I want to do something else with my land." And this school had been there for years, established with good facilities, everything. Then what happened? Because they are a couple, there were no legal documents. They didn't have any legal, they didn't operate it as a legal document like Dari and Dimeji are doing. So what would you say? How would you do that? But before I do that, let me just allow you to do a brief introduction about yourself. Once you've done the introduction, please just shoot off and tell us how couples can collaborate nicely. So let me get rid of myself.
All right. Hello, viewers. It's good to be here. Thank you, Ronke Posh, for having us here. It's such a great privilege collaborating with you. So I'm Nike Ajayi, and here with me is my boo of life. That's Shola Ajayi, and we are doing life together, doing life on all fronts. Thank you so much. And we are pastors. We run our businesses. He has the business he's managing. I also have mine, and we are also family life coaches. But all this we do together. As a matter of fact, we integrate all this together. Thank you.
Okay, Pastor Shola, you're not going to say anything yet. Or you're being the gentleman. So can you tell us about the business that you run together and how it works? Because in Nigeria, you know that it's always the man. The man, I'm the head. So do you have those issues? How does it work for you?
Okay, it's a long journey.
Okay, let me start this way. I think we started our business in 2004, immediately after our marriage. And I think the issue about business is one thing that I think we need to know is the issue of trust. You know, I remember when I got married to my treasure, I'm just making this open to the public so that they can hear. It may not be the same for everybody because we have our own uniqueness in a way, and one way or the other is that the understanding between the two of us when we started our relationship. Even 5 years before marriage, we've been trying to understand ourselves, to discover who we are. When I got married to my wife, I was doing a business, and the business was not really going on well. She was a banker, and we discovered that we need a lot of money to actually run this business. And not fully, in marriage, there's always one that is a spender and one is a saver.
That's right.
And my wife, I know her, she's a very kind-hearted woman. She can give out anything at any time. But one way or the other, by the virtue of trust she has in me, one way or the other, she was getting the bulk. Bankers then, they were getting a lot of money, upfronts and the rest. She was pumping the money into the business. I was doing the business. I was the one running the business with the money. And one way or the other, we were able to build enough capital, the first capital to start up our business. But the major factor about this collaboration between the two of us is the issue of trust. The issue of trust. And there's something that I try to do personally to make sure that that trust is key. Everything that, no, let me just start this way. The first car we bought, I bought it in our name. We bought it in our name. You know, our house was built in our name. We bought the house in our, so everything we were doing, I was running the business, I was making the money, she was working as a banker, but we had made sure that the properties we were having, everything was in our name. And we try as much as possible to be open and transparent with each other. Every day I do account of the business that we are doing. We always try to see what is going on, and one way or the other, we try as much as possible to work together in unity and harmony. And the matter about the communication is also key. But there's no point of me running a business and I'm not be communicating with my wife that this is what's going on, and that increased level of trust, and we're able to build something and start our first business before we now diversify to the second business. And at this point, let me hand over to my wife.
Okay. Thank
You mentioned trust, which
has
is
been
very,
said.
very important.
Okay.
But we know that trust is an issue. So if you don't mind muting.
Okay.
So trust is an issue. We know that in society, trust is an issue for couples. I'm sure you, post-wedding counselor, it's nothing new to you. Trust is an issue before, and then people equate love and trust. They're a bit, mixed up. What is love? What is trust? What is love without trust? What is trust without love? Exactly. Maybe that should even be the question. What is love without trust? What is trust without love? Why can't couples collaborate when it comes to finances? You hear quotes on social media about, oh, his money is our money, my money is my money, things like that. So what recommendations do you have for couples when it comes to this love and trust? Because we know that it's pretty much, I can't find the words, but it's a bit dodgy when it comes to couples. It's a bit tricky when it comes to couples. So how do you know that you can put all your life in somebody's hands? We know divorce is there, separation is there. Now, if you put everything in one man's hand and everything is in his hand and then it doesn't work out, then what? We have legal here. Legal will help us with that. But what is your own perspective when it comes to this love and trust? What do you have to say to people?
All right. Thank you so much. I often tell people that in relationship, you not only love with your heart, love with your head. Because every human being every individual has a history or a story. Some are lovely, some are beautiful, some are painful, some are bitter. So we're all coming from different backgrounds. And these emotional experiences have a way of affecting people. We might have been fortunate, but what I saw in him was a man that is pure-hearted, plain-hearted. I was not analyzing my husband before I could decide I was going to get married to him. I did not look at him alone because of how he reacts to me or how he deals with me. I looked at his relationship with his siblings, with his mother, with his friends, with people. One thing that I know about him is that he has always been a kind man. And the faith aspects could not be taken away from him because I knew I prayed about it. Let's take that on one side. But I realized that I was dealing with a man full of trust. When we were together, he only had 2 pairs of trousers and 3 shirts in school because we met in school. But I said I prefer to get married to a raw material. I'd always wanted to grow with a man. But I did not love with my heart alone. That's the truth. I loved with my head. Checked out who I was going to get married to. And like you said, I'm open, he's open. I was able to put so much in his hands because I could see a man that loves, treasures me. And it does not, some men will do this and they will not care to tell their friends, their families, what the wife represents to them. This is a man that will tell the whole family that all what I have at then was from my wife. I will say, please don't tell everybody now. Why must everybody know what is going on? He said they needed to know so that at that time our businesses were not this structured. They needed to know so that when anything happens, they will know that there is nothing I have that is not from you. And that has been the case. And like he said, he keeps saying that the only thing that he has that is in his name is the Bible. So I think
I didn't get your conclusion. You said the only thing
that he has in his name is his Bible.
Ah, the only thing he has in his name is the Bible. That is quite interesting. That is quite interesting. So there's a lot of trust, a lot of faith going on there. Okay, no problem. So let me bring legal person on board. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, legal Tosin, you are here. Now come and tell us about legal stuff because we are all being sentimental. That's the reality. I believe that we are all being sentimental. Sentiment does not run a business. That's my own perspective. I love you does not run a business. That is what I, my own experience. And if I'm married to you, may not work. My husband has his own personality type. If you don't mind muting for now because it's writing. My husband has his own personality types. He knows the way he likes to work. My husband is people that know him. He doesn't do social media. He doesn't. I'm doing social media. I do social media every day. Pretty much every day. Someone I want to take the social media fast. I'm there. I'm complete opposite. Sometimes he looks at me and we're thinking, I wonder what is even going on in his head. So I can't say, but I cannot say that he doesn't collaborate with me. To a significant extent, all the businesses that I've run that have been very successful, he has been there. He has been there, managing from behind the scenes. He's not there because he wants us to be running the business together and he's in the school doing lesson notes and things like that. That's not the kind of, but perhaps because we are married, the support and the love, he does all that. If there's anything that I can do when it comes to his own, and his own personality, he's very, very quiet, very reserved, he keeps his own thing, so we just run our own thing and we've been married for 18 years somehow, but because of God, we are pushing. So people like Bridget, let's say the marriage counselor, we are following them, so that I can continue to learn and stuff like that. So when it comes to marriage, I need you to tell us. So Legal Tosin will give us a brief introduction about herself. And once she's done, she's going to tell us how we can remove sentiment from sentiment and emotions from running businesses. What is the right way to collaborate in Nigeria? Over to you, Tosin. A brief intro. Let's go. Audio.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon. I'm Tosin Omotosho. I'm a legal practitioner and I specialize in business and real estate law. I've been a lawyer for more than 12 years. And over the course of that time, I've consulted and represented different entrepreneurs and companies in different sectors of the economy in Nigeria. And I'm delighted to talk about this topic. In addition to that, I'm also an author, and I create a lot of legal content for business owners on all my social media handles. All right. So I do this because I have seen that there's a gap in the knowledge space for entrepreneurs about the legal aspects of their business. Okay. So thank you, Auntie Roger Posh, for inviting me to this session. And it's been very wonderful listening to the co-founders and the couple who have been doing business together. And so straight to the first thing that you talked about the right way to collaborate and about sentiment. Now, one thing that I have seen happen over and over again when people have businesses in Nigeria is it's usually someone close to you you're going to do business with. It could be your husband, it could be your wife, it could be a friend, it could be someone you know. So the sentiments are always there. But for me, from my experience, the sentiments can also be, it can be an hindrance because there are tough conversations that you should have when you want to collaborate. And that's just the truth. It's just like marriage. There are times that you have to sit down with your spouse and have these tough conversations. Do you know that according to statistics, 60% of partnerships, of collaborations across the world, not only in Nigeria, will fail because of personal differences between the partners? So when people collaborate, most times they don't think of this. They're just looking at, we want to make profit. We want to make a lot of money from this business idea. They are not thinking about the tough things. What is the vision of this collaboration? What do we have in mind? What do we want to achieve? Now, what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses? These are things you have to look at. All right. Now, I love how we had a very practical example on the platform today. the first set of speakers that spoke to us, Mr. Dimeji and Mr. Dari, we could see that one of them is good, is a software developer. The other person is a vast salesman. So you can see that they complement each other. Now that's very important. A lot of businesses have failed, not because the businesses were not being properly run, or that the businesses were not viable. The businesses were viable, but because the partners could not even agree on what are our roles in this partnership. What are our roles? So we always say, oh, document your business transactions. If you want to do any form of collaboration, any form of partnership, make sure the necessary things are written down. But most times we don't do this. It's just the profit. We're just after the profit. Now, the first step is you've got to agree. You have to have the tough conversation. What are you going to talk about? What's the vision of this collaboration? What do we hope to achieve? What are our strengths and weaknesses? What will be our roles in this partnership? And our responsibilities. What am I bringing to the table? What am I getting from this partnership? Oh, I've had a lot of issues where two friends will start a business. Maybe a friend will see a business opportunity and tell the other friend, and say, we can invest in this. And then they just start. Now, one of the partners is paying the other partner like a salary. And that one is feeling bad, like, well, I brought this business idea, but I'm the one running it. But did you talk about it? Talking about communication is very key when it comes to collaboration, and not just communication, because you can say something and tomorrow you ask me as a business partner and say, Tosi, what did we discuss yesterday? I've forgotten. Okay, so that is why where documenting it comes in, because when you document something, you can always refer back to it and say, this is what we agreed upon on so and so date, and this is what we stand by in this partnership.
Wonderful. So I'm curious to know if Shola and Nikki Ajayi have legal documents, because what do you say to someone like Favor? Let me go to the comments. Favor said he asked if husband and wife, is that a collaboration? And I instantly said no, because your husband and wife does not mean that you are collaborators, husband and wife. So I asked him, I said, do you have legal documents for the businesses that you run? So he said no, that they don't have legal documents. So in my world, that is not so another thing, that there are different types of collaborations. So we have to be clear on that. There are different kinds. Some of them are not even monetary collaborations. Say, for example, in the educational sector, like right now, a lot of educators are collaborating. I've been on close to 60 webinars since the lockdown. Some of them paid, some of them unpaid. When they're unpaid, they're usually because I'm collaborating with somebody. I'm trying to add value to whatever they are doing. I'm trying to create visibility around what they are doing, because I know it's in the best interest of the country. So I can collaborate, nothing monetary. I just doing my own bits. So that's the type of collaboration. So I brought Mr. and Mrs. Shola Ajayi back to answer Favor, who has a school with his wife. He founded it, but now she's working there, but there are no legal documents. So what do you say to that, Mr. and Mrs. Nikki Ajayi? What do you say to Favor that do not have legal documents? You have legal documents because your own is love, love, love. And it's great to love, trust. Fantastic. I mean, it's very up my alley. However, in the world where people break up and all sorts of things happen, what do you have to, okay, they have gone, I think it's a network issue. What do you say, Tosin, when the couples don't have a legal document?
Now, when a couple are doing business together and they don't have legal documents, just like you said, there are different types of collaborations. That's a very vague thing, because this I think Mr. Favor, I saw what he posted, and he said is working for me. Is she working for you as an employer? Is she a co-founder of your company? Have you had these tough conversations? Now, I know that there's a lot of sentiment, love and trust and everything, but believe you me, trust is not an excuse it's not an excuse to be vague when it comes to your business transactions. It's no excuse at all. Even if you're doing business with your dad, your mom, husband, wife, children, anyone at all, it's important to make sure that there's clarity. We don't want to leave things to chance. Someone is thinking, okay, we own this business together, but it's not written down. And the other party is thinking, no, we don't own this business. I founded this group, and then I'm running it, and I'm paying you a salary. There has to be a meeting of mind. The thing about contract and agreement is there is a meeting of minds. 2 people, 3 people, more than 4 people, they can't work together except they are agreed. What have you agreed upon? All right, it's very important. Yes, I know that love and trust are key things to work together. You can't do business with someone if there's no extent of trust in that person. But you've got to protect yourself. You owe it to yourself. If you're putting in everything into a business, you owe it to yourself to make sure that your interests are legally protected. The truth is, business is war. I always say this all the time, and people laugh, but that's the truth. Business is war, and it is wise to protect yourself legally. It is wise to talk about these things, not just talk about them, but write them down. Write them down in clear details. It has to be detailed. We've seen a lot of cases thrown out in court because of lack of details.
But is that not unromantic? Is that not unromantic if I want to do business and say, hey, I love you, but I don't trust you. This business, let me do legal document. Is that not unromantic?
No, it's not. It's not. In fact, as a matter of fact, I would feel more as a woman if I'm doing business with my husband. My husband has written everything and said, "This is a motor show. This is your what you own in this business. Let's sign it. Let's sign this document. This is the percentage you own. This is what will happen if so and so happens. This is our exit strategy. This is our roles and responsibility." Now I'm at peace. I can put my best into it. I've been approached a lot of times by people who want to do partnerships, and the first thing I will ask them is, what's in it for me? What am I doing for you? If you can't answer these questions, why should I even put my energy into something that I don't know?
But it's like having a prenuptial agreement, isn't it? If you want me to have a prenuptial agreement, it's like there's no romance, love, and trust already in the relationship. Does that not apply?
No. It doesn't.
Okay, let me hear from Pastor Mr. and Mrs. Solajayi that are running businesses together and building homes together, doing all sorts of things together at this time. What would you say? I think it's unromantic. I think it's unromantic. So Paula is saying that documentation is very key as well, and we know that from family system engineering, which all of us belong to. So, is it not unromantic?
Okay. All right. Let me start this way because I would like her to wrap up this. No, you see, the issue is that when we started our business, no, by the grace of God, we are not running just one business. We started a business. I said the other time on trust, but when she resigned from the banking industry, she set up her own business. So there is something we have to do. We have to move some amount of. As a matter of fact, I run the business we started, and I am the one running the business now. Now there's a second business she's doing now. The second business of the family. She's the one running the business with some other partners. I am the director.
Hang on.
Okay.
You are saying you own the business, but you are running the business. I don't understand. You both own businesses, but you are not both running businesses.
Okay. Can I hear you? Are you with me?
Yes.
Business together. Yes. But at a point when she resigned from the banking industry to start her own appointment in charge of the first business solely in why the second one she is the one solely in charge with some other I'm also a partner, but what we do is that there there is list we have percentage of the profit sharing percentage for both of us in each business, and we have our own input to each businesses. Are you getting my point? Like the issue is that
okay, so the network is a bit.
These are practical. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, I can.
Okay. What I'm saying in essence is that you see the issue of documentation is key in business. We have our percentage. There's a percentage profit sharing. There's a percentage, what do you call it now? Capital that we have in the businesses. But the fact is that the major key, even no matter what is going on, nobody is thinking, by the virtue of our faith, nobody is thinking about divorce, nobody is thinking about, and that is one thing I mentioned the other time, that you see, most of the major problem we have when it comes to the husband and wife, when it comes to the issue of business, is that when the husband is no longer there, the wife is always having problems. But this problem have already been resolved in a way. It's not nobody is thinking about debt, but it's have been resolved in a way that even if I'm no longer available for that business, nobody can come and say this business will be taken away from her, because majorly what is in the business belongs to her. Even when it comes to the issue of properties, all the properties is in her name. But I discovered that most of the problem we have after when marriages, I mean, maybe the husband died or something happened to the husband, they always give women, problems. So that one has been resolved. So there won't be any issue, because by the virtue of trust, I have 3 wonderful kids that I know that even if I'm no longer here, it belongs to my wife and my children. Automatically, that one has been resolved, because it's already legally documented that everything belongs to her.
Okay, so
I get to my point now.
that's great. I'm glad that there are legal documents going on there. So that is here. I wanted to also ask the lady. So Dare is here. I hope the lady will come back really soon. Now, when it comes to decision making, how does that work? When it comes to decision making, because there are different personality types. How does it work when it comes to decision making?
Okay, so like the legal person said, for our own kind of business, we're coming in with different strengths. So when it comes, I have a portion of the business I'm managing. He has a portion of the business he's managing. When it comes to decision making, we make decisions together. But if it has to do with my area of strength of the business, then I have a higher chance to to say the final thing, because this is my expertise. This is what I do every day. When it comes to his own portion of the business, I even if I think he's not good, I'll just look at it that, well, I think he knows what he's saying. And because I know that it is our business, he cannot take a decision that will not favor the business, then I'll give it to him, and vice versa. And sometimes maybe we have a loggerhead on some things, we just pack it aside, and then we come back and say, okay, you know what, let's do it your way. Let's even try and see if it will work your way. And then if it works, it's fine. If it doesn't work, it's like, that thing you said is true. Let's do it that your own way. And then we move ahead.
So there's flexibility going on there from what I can hear. There's flexibility when it comes to decision making, and you leverage on the strength of whoever is there. So if it's your own strength, he'll do the decision making. If it's his own strength, he does the decision making. Okay, that is good. So, but we also know that too many cooks spoil the broth, because collaborations are not duos. Some collaborations, there's 3 people, 4 people, 5 people in collaborations. And when it comes to decision making, Tosin, what were you going to say when it comes to decision making amongst people when there are many?
Thank you. So when it comes to decision making, this is part of the things that you agree, that you talk about, even before you start the partnership at all, because they're going to be taking different decisions, day-to-day decisions. Now you want to look at what type of decisions are we going to be making, and would someone have the final say? So maybe, for instance, like now, let's use Mr. Dimeji and Mr. Dari as a perfect example. I can't remember now whether it's Mr. Dimeji who is the software developer. If, for instance, they want to take a decision on technology, they might want to decide and agree to say, okay, we are going to defer to Mr. Dimeji when it comes to issues of technology, because that's his own area of expertise. And then when it comes to sales, we will defer to Mr. Dari, because that is his own area of competence. It all boils down to knowing who the different personalities that are involved in the partnership. Okay, I remember attending a session during this COVID period, and it was for our profession, it was for the legal profession. We're talking about things like this, like collaborations, law firms coming together. And we had an SAN, a very elderly SAN, come talk to us, and she was saying she's into a partnership with about 5-6 partners. She was saying that it's like having 5 to 6 husbands, because when you want to take decisions, you have to ask everyone one by one. But she mentioned something very important that I would refer to. And she said they have a partnership agreement, and that's at the point of entering into that partnership, that they had discussed all these things, how they were going to take decisions. And then whenever they can't agree, they have recourse. They go back to the agreement because the agreement is so detailed. They're able to follow it through to say, okay, this is who will take the final decision. This is how we're going to go about this, and that's final. All right. So that is it about taking decisions in a partnership.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. When I want the maybe to come back. That way, if he's going to be able to come back soon because I want to ask a question and I want him to be there. But so just let me know in the chat box if he's going to be able to come back. Otherwise, you have to answer the question on your own. Okay, so let me go back. So, legal Tosin, what advice do you have for students, for example, in terms of collaborating at this time? Many schools are already established, many schools are closing down at this time. What advice would you have for schools at this time when it comes to collaboration so that they don't sink and they can float?
All right, my advice for schools who would want to collaborate is first of all to take stock of what we have 2 or 3 schools that want to come together now. You take stock of your assets and your liabilities. What are we good? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Your business assets. When I'm talking about business assets, not necessarily only physical assets, tangible assets. It could be the goodwill. It could be something that the school is known for. Maybe, for instance, you run your school and then you're known for maybe A levels. It's a full school that you run, but your A levels is known to be top notch. And then you have another school that is known for maybe another aspect, something like that. So you want to come together. You have to take stock first. And now you have to also look at, these parties, do they have integrity? Now, that's one thing that is very, very important because, yes, you are going to document everything, but integrity is very key. You don't want a party you'll be running after all day in court to enforce whatever you have agreed upon. Now, what's your vision for the collaboration? What do you both want to work about? What do you both want to work towards? What's the end goal for the collaboration? What do you hope to achieve? What will be the roles of each party? How can you exit the partnership if anything goes all right? Now, collaborations and partnerships can be of different types. So there is no hard and fast rule. It's not like 1 + 1 must be 2, or you must do it this particular way. There's no straight jacket way to do it. It's simply about what you parties can agree upon and work out. It must be something that is workable, of course. So you have to have these conversations, and beyond having the conversations, you should document it. I cannot overstress that. You should document it because most times when you start these businesses, you might feel, oh, it's just something small. Let's just start it because of what's going on, and then it really goes beyond what you planned. And then with the expansion comes a lot of disputes that now causes the business to crumble. We don't want that to happen. So that would be my advice for schools that want to go into collaboration during this season.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Now, you also know that in this side of the world, legal people have a price. So the trust is not there for many people. What can they do?
Okay, just like you choose a partner, you choose your lawyer too very carefully. You're working with professionals, you have to choose them very carefully. Any professional you're working, it's not even just lawyers, accountants, any professional you're working with in the process of doing business, because your business is a cash cow, it's something you have to take care of. It's like your baby, you have to pamper it, so you cannot allow just anyone to come in to advise you or to offer their services. So you want to really ask questions. You want to study the person or the law firm. What's their reputation? The truth is, if you ask questions, you will get answers.
Okay, listen, I've given you an example close to home of a lawyer that has been a family lawyer for about 30 years and was still bought over. They didn't even know that this was happening to them. They trusted.
Wow.
So how do we win? It's difficult.
Yeah, I agree. When you've worked with someone for 30 years, you feel this person should have your back. So I guess at every point in time, you have to cross-check and ask questions. Please, if you have retained the services of any professional, always ensure you ask questions and make sure you're on top of whatever is going on. There has to be a way to explain to you what exactly is going on. Okay, it might not be your
risk. We should not really take the risk. So if Dimeji and Dare, for example, they want to come for each other now, What's the risk? Should we accept collaboration as a risk?
Yes, we should accept collaborations. There are benefits to it.
No, as a risk. The benefits, they speak for itself. If you notice, that people say it's good to collaborate because of this or that or the other. It's a risk in terms of what I mean by that is you're going into this collaboration with ex-wife, husband, wife, a group of people, whatever. You are taking a risk with your life and your business. They might set you up, they might kill you, they might get down and shoot you. So do we accept it as a risk?
Yes, it is a risk. It is a risk, and just like everything in life is a risk. Everything good comes with both the good side and the bad side. So it's a risk. So you have to look at it critically and decide whether it's worth taking or not. But I think it's worth taking.
It's a risk. If it's a risk, is it not better to just do it alone?
Is it not better to do things alone? Oh no, I don't think it's better if you can achieve more when you have someone else on your side. I think you should go for it. Sorry, I didn't get that.
You can achieve more, but you stay alive. If you are alone.
Well, we can de-risk it. That even if the party thinks killing the other, even if the party thinks they can kill the other party to get something, we can make sure that there are some legal documents, the way they are framed. Even if you kill the other party, it's just a waste of time. All right.
All right. Let me allow you to take a break right now. Let me bring back up Larry here, and I will bring back here the Meiji that. See, it was not only me that was confusing you guys. So thank God I even said it. It wasn't only people are already making mistakes. Which one Daddy, which one Dimeji? I don't get it. So I'm this collaboration. You get that a lot. Hey, so I didn't want to say it to be weird.
Sometimes we used to think it wasn't true, but I think this confirms it.
It has confirmed it because I'm glad that I'm not the only one, because I didn't want to think, I didn't want to assume I was lazy in recognizing people, but I just didn't know which one came into my office. I was like, one of them, one of those guys. I don't know which one it is. It's with time that I know the Meiji, I know Dari now, but I will tell you that I've always known it. So what do you tell to people? How can they manage risks in an organization? You are running a business together. I need to hear from you. How risks, because people are worried about risks.
Dimeji, let me allow you to talk because you were not.
Okay. I listened to the lawyer explaining. I would like to start from where she stopped, talking about that some clauses can be put to actually make the other person. I mean, even if you kill the other person, then it's just a waste of time. But I think I will still go back to that. My explanation on the value. Because if you have a mindset that all that you do is to the glory of God and you don't do things for the earthly gain alone, and you are able to find a partner with this same understanding, then you will not be able to, you don't have problem, and you can do things without even checking, because there are so many times that Daddy will just say to me, just go and do it. I trust whatever you do. Because he knows that I will not do things for my earthly gains alone. I will do things to make heaven at the end of the day. It's very, very important because, it is something that has worked for us. So that's why I always have to talk about it from this angle. And that will determine how to actually manage the risk. Because many people will actually tell you that business is a risk, or don't you think your partner will do this and this and this? Then I'll just say, okay, you know what? I know this person and I know what he wants to achieve in life, and I know that he values a relationship with men and he loves God and he fears God. And based on that, sometimes I just sleep with my eye closed. Many times. And then Dari does the same thing with me too. So I think that value system is so key. And if it's not taken from the point of faith, honestly, we will think that we have the whole solution to the problem of risk in this world.
So are you saying that if somebody is not of your own faith, you can't collaborate with the person?
It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult what I can do with that person, even if I'm not sure. The person can even be going to church, but if I'm not sure of the faith of that person, there is a limit to what I can do with that person, honestly, because it's very, very important to me. because the scripture says, "Do not be unequally yoked with unbeliever." I mean, that is just my own, that's my own value and that's my own understanding.
Okay, so you brought scripture actually being unequally yoked with somebody else. Okay, that's quite interesting. So what do you have to say to that, Pastor and Mr. and Mrs. Nikki Ajayi? So the Benja has mentioned being unequally yoked. So are we now saying that we cannot collaborate with homosexuals around the world? We cannot collaborate with people, Mark Zuckerberg, for example, is a Buddhist. So if he calls you, Dimeji, tomorrow and say, I need to collaborate, I love what Edverse is doing, they're going to say, we're unequally yoked. I don't know. Before you say anything, Dimeji, please think about it. What do you have to say, Mr. and Mrs. Nike Ajayi? What do you have to say with that? Dimeji, I'm coming back for you with your question about Mark Zuckerberg collaborating with you.
Sure. As regards values from Dimeji. And I remember them over a year ago, I pondered upon the scripture that I quoted. Then God took me to another scripture talking about the deep collect unto the deep. And sincerely on that day, I got a totally different interpretation. Because what we call believers, it can be a contextual thing. But the overall thing is the values. And values vary. There is a values in faith, values in character, characters and holistic character. We've seen terrible Christians, we've seen terrible Muslims, we've seen terrible other religions. We've seen beautiful, character-wise, beautiful Muslims. My parents are still Muslims. And I boast of my father up till today. My parents, my mom and dad, they are still Muslims. But when it comes to this, in terms of the deep calling onto the deep, the depth can be in science, and you have somebody that has the right value in the science. The depth can be in the business, in terms of depth of knowledge, still backed up with the values to thrive in that business. For me, if I see a Muslim that has the right business value, trust, discipline, character, that can move this business together, and intellectual capacity, I can go ahead and collaborate, because they are still we are all human beings.
So I'm very happy to hear that it's not a religious thing.
No, it's not a religious thing. For us,
so,
it's not a religious thing.
But from your spiritual side of things, what do you say to the Dimeji that said unequally yoked?
This scripture, it depends on perception. For me, that particular scripture was talking about in believers in faith. When it comes to spiritual, for as Christians, we are spiritual people. But when it comes to giving solution to humanity, our light should shine from us to darkness in terms of bringing people. So when it comes to that spirituality being unequally yoked, there is a perception of maybe there will be the warning about God will just tell you, stay clear of this person. That same God can tell you to stay clear of a Christian that is going to church. That same God can tell you to stay clear of a particular pastor, because in that mindset, in a particular discourse, you can even be unequally yoked with that pastor. So it depends on the context. Okay. I have seen wonderful Muslims doing wonderful business, and they have not lost their integrity.
As a matter of fact, some of my very good friends, and we work very nicely together, not financially, but there are people that I have to do business with financially, I can actually consider them. Okay, so let's go on mute. Thank you for that contribution. We need to bring legal person back on now. When legal person, what do you have to say about this religion and collaboration? Because I still believe that there's sentiment attached to it. There's attached to it. What do you have to say about collaboration and religion?
Okay, so what I have to say about collaboration and religion is
what do you
agree to? The bottom line is, what do you agree to? Can you work together? If you have the tough conversations, do you agree on the basic things that would make your collaboration work? That is basically the thing. When it comes to collaboration, the next word is agreement. What can you agree to, regardless of religion, regardless of what part of the world or the country you're from? All right. So there's this show that I always watch on Netflix, and it's called Shark Tank, where you have a group of investors who are billionaires and millionaires in dollars, invest in people's businesses, people who they don't know, they don't necessarily have any affiliations with them. But of course, they draw up the necessary paperwork and they agree on all the necessary things. So you have someone who, for instance, is doing business, and then maybe the total sales is $100,000 in sales for a whole year. When the investor comes on board with their expertise, their competence, their network, they are grossing $10 million in sales. So if the person has said, no, I will hold on tight to my business, I don't want anyone to be a part of this, I don't want to work with anyone, I don't want to collaborate, they will still have remained at that same level. But of course, I will take into cognizance the fact that they always have the proper documents in place and it will state everything. Of course, we know that in more developed climes, they take proper documentation more seriously than we do in this part of the world. Okay, so I can see a question here from Bridget Ellison saying, how do you advise couples in business to document? As I've noticed, some men will bring the issue of being the head to the business to undermine their wife's decision. When it comes to business, your partners, when you're at home, it's husband and wife. When it comes to business, your business partners, you have to be able to have conversations, the tough conversations. How are we going to share profits? I won't encourage anyone to go into any form of collaboration where the other party is trying to emotionally manipulate the other party. That's not a collaboration. That's not a partnership. That's something else. And that's a sign that you might want to really look at it again and decide, do I want to really do this? Okay, so I hope that answers your question, ma'am. So when it comes to our collaboration, doing business together, we have to be on the same page. We have to agree. If someone is using any form of religious, coming under a religious cloak to say, because I'm the head of the home, anything I say in this business too, it must stand. I do not think that's the proper thing to do. I don't think that's a fair business collaboration. They have to be able to agree. They have to be able to agree.
I'm sure that answers the question. I just pray that in this our own terrain, when we know that the man is always I'm the man, I'm the husband, I'm the one in charge. Well, let's not even get to that because that's not even really my sector when it comes to marriage. I don't like talking about it. The next question I'm going to ask is going to go to the Ajayis, and it's going to be about getting bored. So think about it, getting bored when you're working together and you're doing business together. Isn't it so boring? I'm going to bring Dimeji. Tosin, thank you, but please hang on. Where's Tosin? So Dimeji, I've got your question for you. So Mark Zuckerberg wants to collaborate with you. Are you going to say, oh, I want to hear from God first, and then Dare is saying, let's go, because the Dare that I know, the more I know about Dare is not going to say he wants to hear from God. Though. I'm not saying I know his own spiritual life, but Dare will say, man, we don't have to be that now. But Dare, it seems to me, these are all perceptions, and perception is not reality. I'm so aware that perception is not reality. What I'm saying may just be a pile of rubbish, but from observation, the Megan looks at the one that will say, let me go and pray to God. Maybe God wants me to work with Mark Zuckerberg or not. But that is like, yeah, my guy. They go, no. They go, no, in Nigeria. Didn't I tell them? So how do you do that?
Okay, I think I would like to. Okay, I would like to I wasn't able to actually explain further the other time. I think to me, what I was trying to say the other time was that when we talked about running an entity together with shareholding, with CAC agreement and everything, I have my reservation for who I am going to yoke with. We have to be controlled by the same spirits. That is clear. The first major business that I handled, that I think we did with, I think I and Dari also handled another part for him, was actually given to us by a Muslim who happened to be a very senior person. I even mentor us today. He was even the one that gave me the first flight ticket to Abuja in 2010. He put me on plane for the first time. And he's up till today, he's a fantastic person. In fact, we talk a lot and we do businesses together. But businesses that we do together are things like more or less like client to partner, client to company relationship and joint venture, but not something that has to do with running a single entity together. and we understand each other. He's a fantastic man. I have people of different faith who have patronized us, who we have done businesses with. If Sukaba calls me today and say, I want to do something with you, we have to check together. Then, oh, it's not about running single entity together. Then, I mean, definitely we'll do business. We have Christians, we have Muslims, we have different people of different backgrounds that we have done businesses with in partnership, in different things, but not in running single entity together. But that is very, very important to me, because I believe so much in taking my own cases to the spirit, to the
but it
to the
can be
God.
so annoying anyway. It can be annoying now. When I ask you questions, let me go and ask Daddy. Let me go and ask Ordinary, can you do 12:30? Can you go? It can be irritating now, because I know husband and wife. Do people think you are gay or something? Do you get things like that?
There's nothing like that.
Well, what will you say? Well, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to break ice there. So, Daddy, what do you say to that? If Mark Zuckerberg comes and stuff like that, and please don't be diplomatic, just be real. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. We just want to know, based on your personality type, what do you think?
Myself, right?
So don't give us theory. Don't give us theory.
Well, actually, as I am the social guy, people look at me as the people person, the social people. That doesn't mean I just take things from the surface, as it were. So definitely, it's going to be a big, a big thing to do if Mark Zuckerberg says, guys, I know you guys are the one doing this in Nigeria, in Africa, but definitely, in fact, we will never take a big step like that without praying about it. There are times that even me and Dimeji will just say, okay, we want to pray for the company today. And then we are praying and fasting for the company. Not because there's any opportunity. So you can imagine.
I'm looking at you.
Come again?
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Daddy. Daddy, I'm looking at you.
So definitely, if we have something like that, we'll look at it logically, and then we'll also pray about it. And then we know that the one thing that is very certain is that that something looks good doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. And that something is looking bad on the surface does not mean it's not good as well. So definitely we wouldn't forget about the part of praying about it. We'll pray about it. And if we have the conviction in our spirit to go with it, then there we go. Thank you. I hope I answered your question. I won't get
And to a significant extent, you answered the question, but not quite, because we still keep going on. And please don't get me wrong, I love Jesus very much, but we still keep going on about the religious. And I'm thinking in the 21st century, we should be able to move on and collaborate with people irrespective of our religion. So I believe it's very important, because we go into the world, we win the gospel, we pray, we do all these sort of things. I don't know how to explain it, but what I'm trying to say is that if Mark Zuckerberg wants to collaborate with me, I probably won't. Maybe I'm not the most spiritual person in the whole world. I probably won't pray about it. I will just say, "Hey, I don't land."
I'm not saying that I won't deal with. I'm not even talking about dealing with Mark Zuckerberg, maybe because he's not a Christian or what have you. Doing business with somebody doesn't have to do with the religion of the person. It's business. So the essence of praying about it is to know if it's something that is worth your time. Because imagine if you invest, you can deal with a Christian, and the business won't work fine. So it doesn't have to be that because it's a Christian. And sometimes it's not that you have to go and pray about it for 7 days, because you have the Holy Spirit living inside of you. He's able to tell you, go this way. You can imagine you are driving on the express and the Spirit of God tells you, pass this place. Sometimes you don't know why. But when you go this way, then you now realize that, can you imagine, this will have happened to me if I went that way. It's not because you have to pray for 3 days to say, where should I go? So sometimes the Spirit of God is living inside of us. It gives us direction. It will tell us, say this, don't say this, do this, don't do this. So it doesn't have anything to do with because either Zuckerberg is a Christian or is not a Christian. We can do business with somebody who is not a Christian. So far, we have the leading to go ahead.
Okay. So Dimeji, you want to add to that? Let's hear from you, Dimeji.
Yes, I just want to lay emphasis on it. Now, the collaboration, the way I'm seeing it is like, if we talk about collaboration in co-founding the same business together is different from collaboration that we have found a company and you have your company and then want to do something together within a period of time. So the one I was talking about that I will have to be sure about the fate of that person is funding a company together. Because I will take my case, I will take the case of the business to God. And the person might not be able to take the same case to the same God I'm talking about. But if it's about joint venture, like you have a business and and I have my own business, then I don't mind doing that kind of business. And I think even in something like in a situation like that, we have been duped by a Christian before, we have been duped by people from other businesses before, but we just withdraw and come back to what is the main business that the entity that we are running. So that entity is what I'm talking about, and it's very, very important, and that's my own view. Yeah.
Okay, so there's some things, okay, I get it. There's some things that strictly faith-based, and it also depends on, you have different levels in terms of collaboration. Let's just summarize it that way. Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much for adding to that. We're going to conclude. So please think about your final words for the audience. We're still going to have to talk about collaboration. And when I talk about collaboration, I'm going to bring atheists to this show. Atheists. So let's see how atheists collaborate, and we'll learn from them. Mr. and Mrs. Nikki Ajayi, you're going to come to the stream right now. And the question that I have for you, isn't it boring? So I work with a lot of education, blah, blah, blah. A lot of things I do have to do with education. If you don't mind going on mute for a second or two. So it's everything I do is education, WhatsApp group, this, that, education all the time, or parenting. That's what I talk about. And then I come home and then my husband talks about infrastructure and something completely different. And he's a reader. He's really one of those people who are very cerebral up there. He's very quiet. He's different, very completely different from, I don't even know how he cooks. Just be praying that we continue to stay together for many, many more years. It's been 20-something years now of knowing each other and 18 years of being married. But I don't want to be talking about parenting and education and then come home again and talk about parenting and education. I want to talk about something else. If I'm running business with my husband all the time, doesn't it get boring? How do you manage boredom and subject matter discussions?
All right. I think basically number one is our personality. And thankfully, we have quite similar personalities.
See the way she's rubbing him, even on air. See the way she's rubbing. See the way she's rubbing him.
My primary personality is his secondary. His secondary is my primary, and we are both talkers. So it may not work for everybody. So we communicate a lot. Then maybe because of our communication, like you said about parenting and all that, he is an engineer, his business is engineering based, auto structure and all that. I do petroleum products. So that's worlds apart. There have been times he's on a hot seat with some of his there's a business they do together. They are not actually directors in our company, but they work together like another collaboration. 1 year he was on a hot seat and he didn't know what to tell them. Do you know that my husband had to send a text to me to say that what should I tell them? But because we have been communicating, we talk every day. We talk about his business. I know all his stakeholders. He knows all my stakeholders. He has met
your management style can't be the same.
Some of my own
management style can't be the same. There's some decisions my husband wants to take. Someone like me, I'm very patient. I mean, if you don't mind putting on mute, I'm a very patient person. He's patient, but in a different kind of way. So, like I said, we run and we don't want a business together. So he's very. I can never say that my husband doesn't collaborate with me, but we even have legal document. Actually, we do, but it was just because he was just the next person. He's my friend, it's my life, that kind of thing. We didn't sign it because we want to share money, kind of. I don't know if it makes any sense. But it's a bit tricky when it comes to husband and wife. I think I've even lost the trail of thought of the question I wanted to ask. But it was, what were you saying? Please remind me, because I lost the trail of thought.
Yes, I said basically what our own is very rare. You are talking about boredom. That don't you ever get bored? Why we don't ever get bored is that the combination of the two of us, we are both talkers. There are major traits in our personalities. We are expressive.
Yeah.
Our primary and secondary personalities are expressive personalities, both ways. It's like we are having an alternate personality. He's an intimidating convertible. I'm a creative Homer. So we talk. Then the two personalities that we have, we don't know how to internalize anything. Basically, our personalities, we are not internalizers, and we like it when it happens. So I think that's maybe primarily that's why we are not bored. We can't even we can't even pretend to keep secrets. We can't pretend not to want to talk. There must be something to talk about. My husband will be coming from his office. He's almost on the street and he's still on phone talking to me. Say, Shebi, you are here now. We are coming to our house. We can finish this talk. He will talk from steering, on speaker till he gets home. And we always have things to talk about. I think basically the trusts, the mutual trust, our personalities, and fundamentally, we can't take away the role of the Spirit of God guiding us at the start from this. So it has really helped. You can badge into my account. I'm the spender, is the saver. So what we do is that as much as we run separate accounts, he has my alert, I have his alert. I can move money, he can move money. So nobody is controlling anything, but you know that when you are moving the money, you are moving our money. And nobody wants to spend our money. So that's it. I think we can.
So how do you manage money, Dimeji? Thank you so much, Mr. Najaya. Mr. Jaya. How do you manage money? So we'll be on mute now. So we've already covered the fact that we need to know each other to an extent before we collaborate. I think we've covered that, Joshua. You need to know somebody to a significant extent before you collaborate with them. But then when it comes to money management, how do you do it at Edvest? Because at the beginning of this webinar, which we have overrun, but I'm enjoying so much, and because it's just so packed. How do you manage money? Because I know you said at the beginning that sometimes when you started the business, if you're not profiteering so much and making a lot of profit, you're like, oh, they make it take, that they take, we take, like one rotten couple, you guys are so annoying. You're so annoying and so amazing at the same time. But how do you do money management in your organization? Because you know that money is the crux of the matter. Please don't pretend for us. Don't be saying one kind of thing. Have you thought about money before? How do you manage your profits? Let's just say, because there'll be times when, just tell us, just be real, please, be real, guys, be real.
Yeah, I think we've been real 100%.
This particular one, this money matter.
Yes. You just have to visit us to know how we do things. And there's something we do, that we put in place for our treasury management, and it is more like, okay, Dare will be the one to transfer, then I have to approve. And if I'm the one to transfer, then Dare will have to approve, and that's how we handle it. And then we do so many things like, 50-50 in most of the cases. So, and sometimes it can even be 0-100. Sometimes when someone is in need of money. The thing is just...
Did you say 0-100?
Yes, many a times that someone can even say, take 100%. Like, okay, I think you need more.
Give us a scenario.
Yeah, we've had cases. When Dare will need to do something, and I might be okay at that time, and I'll say, just take them. Maybe next time I will take 100% or something like that. I think, I'm saying this because I think we are a different breed with what is called. We don't look like our mates in business. Just to be frank with you, because the reason why we have been able to go this far is just because of the fact that we are doing some certain things that many people are not doing. And we don't feel hard doing all those things, honestly. And this is actually, I think this is actually what has actually helped us. I think that they can also add to this. Yeah.
So just like Dimitri said, I can never ever recall that we have ever had a fight over money, because, like he said, what we are so into each other because we know each other. So I will tell him things about my family. He will tell me things about his family. So if he has a pressing need at a particular point in time, I might be fine at that time, and I was okay. How do we solve this? Okay, this is how much you need. Take. And then it doesn't mean that we have paperwork of how things should go. But in as much as possible, we just prioritize the realistic situation at that particular point in time. And then to help us, I think maybe to help us, one thing we have done from the start of the business is that we place ourselves on salary. So it's not that I need 1 million and we have 1.1 and I really need 1 million. Oh, yeah, take 1 million. No, it's not like that. It's a base of, okay, you have taken your salary, I have taken my salary, but you need this money at this time. Okay, take this money. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are just taking the money and you are just going. It might be that take the money. Okay, maybe you have taken 150,000. Okay, the next profit we have, you also take your 150,000 and things like that. So we kind of prioritize each person's need over each other. And like you said, there's never been an account that, why did you spend this 20,000? Why did you spend this 50,000? Because he has an idea of what I need to do. I have an idea of what he needs to do. And, you know, as much as possible, we just make sure that things are working fine. I think money is the last thing that we would ever have a problem with, by God's grace.
Okay, money is the last thing we're ever going to have a problem with. I pray so. But Tosin, what do you have to say about this sort of?
Now you said you pray. You pray to God.
The make said what?
Yeah, so we pray
to God.
Yes.
God, okay? And that is a God thing, right?
No, you said you pray that it continues that way. You said you pray it continues that way. And I said, yes, you pray to God.
Okay, if it comes, okay, hold this question in your mind. If it comes to a time when Dare wants out, or Dimeji wants out, maybe in 20 years, we'll come to that. Tosin, what do you say to these people that are just being romantic men and Kenya? I just think that just what is all this frappy do. Please tell us the real legal thing, because just tell us about this money matter issue, because it's what is causing problems.
Yes. Okay, basically, there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to how finances should be run in a collaboration. It all boils down to what the parties agreed to. Remember, I said when it comes to collaboration, agreement is the most important thing. If you want to do it 50-50, you want to do it 100-0, you want to do it 40-60, 30-70, you want to plow in back all your profits into the business, maybe for the first 2-3 years before you start giving yourself a salary. Maybe at the end of each year, you want to be, after declaring profit and seeing your profit and loss, you want to take a certain percentage of the profit. You want to plow some back into the business. You want to give to charity. It all depends on what you agree upon. Agreement is the most important thing, and that's the legal aspect of money management when it comes to collaborations like this. It's about what do you both agree to? Are you on the same page? If you're on the same page, then you're good to go.
That's pretty good.
Yes. So it's about what the
Okay, maybe someone is
Watch
trying
the
to
replay in detail. To get the detail, you have to watch the replay, but 30 seconds so that we honor them for being here. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button right now. It's free of charge. It costs you nothing. And you get notifications as well if you hit the bell. So, Dimeji, give us 30 seconds of your time, please.
So someone has the question about how to know who to collaborate with. So collaboration is in 2 dimensions, the way I've been saying it. So to start an entity together, you need to collaborate with someone you already know. Some of the program that we have attended in the US and Tel Aviv, they will ask questions that how long have you known, your partner, and then how did you know each other? So how you knew each other when things have not even started up will determine how it will be when you continue. And the age in which you have known each other, it matters a lot too, because you need to actually work with someone that you know very well, even when the money issue has not even come on the table. And also, it is better you start business with someone that has been a friend, that you have done some little things together, even when you are growing up. So that's the best way, because I've seen a lot of people grown-up people in business with experience on life and families and everything. They know one another, they know each other within a month or 2, 3, and they want to start a business together without understanding the value of each other. Most time it has never worked. So the one that has worked very well has always been the one that you've known each other for a long time, even before you become aware of who you are. Then it works better that way to work with someone that you already know. And if you want to collaborate, maybe in terms of business to business, I mean, you don't need to know each other for that long. All you just need to understand is that this business that I want to collaborate with is being run by an entity that I can trust. And then they also understand customer satisfaction. Then you go ahead and then you do business with that person. Then legal can now come, because to us, legal is the second thing, it's not the first thing. Because sometimes if you throw in an agreement into a conversation to start with,
legal is the second thing. Tosin will tell you that legal is the first thing. Tosin will tell you legal is the first thing.
It is actually the second thing, because what you have in the legal is as a result of what you guys have agreed together. And like Dimeji said, I think the value system of whoever, especially if you are going to run an entity together, the value system is very, very important. There's some things that we want to collaborate with somebody to do something, and they will say, let's do it this way. I will not give into it, and I already know that Dimeji will not give into it. And, you know, I don't want to start that discussion, but, you know, you have people who want to collaborate with us, and then maybe when we go for meetings, they say they are being diplomatic. You know,
anyway, I want to collaborate with Edvest. Anyway, we've already started that discussion on a very subliminal way. So we're going to collaborate.
We're already serving your school, so we're already working.
No, that's not collaboration. That's not what I'm talking about. But we'll talk about that. We'll have a conversation with you along the line. You already know what we're talking about. What I want to talk about now is: has Dimeji been ill at some point? Have you been ill at some point, Dari, where one person could not work? And what is the plan for that? Do you have anything documented for something like that? Sisi lawyer is asking, what would happen in a situation when one of you gets ill or unable to work? And then Tosin will speak to that.
Yeah, well,
you can just mute, please.
Okay.
Okay, so we've not had any.
You go on.
We've not had any case where one person was ill for a long time and could not work. Of course, people fall ill maybe for 2 days or 3 days. But we have a legal document that actually addresses that, to say if somebody is incapacitated and cannot continuously work, you know, we have a legal document that manages that. But just like Dimeji said the other time, the first and most important thing is the understanding that we have between the two. Because sometimes you know that even if somebody tells you that he's sick, so you might work with some persons, and if they tell you that they are sick and that's why they can't do something, you know that you might not even be sick. And then you know that some person can actually be sick, but he's still doing his best to ensure that he still brings something to the table at that particular point in time. So like I've said, we've never had a case where somebody is incapacitated for a long period of time, and we pray that will never be the case. But of course, there's a legal document that addresses that.
We have that clause in our agreement. I said we have that clause in our agreement and how it's going to be done legally. That doesn't mean we don't respect legal. What we're trying to say is that we try to understand first, then before the agreement comes in. I mean the agreements and legal work comes in. Someone is talking about that knowing somebody for a long time might not work, due diligence is what. I mean, knowing that person for that long is also part of the due diligence that you're already doing on that person. I'm not just saying that you should go and collaborate with your old friend blindly, but I mean people that you have known, you know who they are. Then it is better. It is easier for you to work and even have agreement with that person. You know, even some conversation, starting the conversation with agreement sometimes can even throw the business apart. Sometimes I've seen cases where agreement will be on the table and it will be like, no, we can't even start this thing with this agreement. You understand? So that is what we are trying to say, that whatever we understand about each person, the value of that person will make even the agreement to work out eventually. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So legal Tosin, what do you have to say to us about that?
Okay, what I have to say is conversations come before you document anything. So you'd have to discuss a whole lot of issues, and these conversations can be tough. All right, because for instance, talking about exit strategy, you said something about, okay, what happens if in the next 20 years? These are conversations people don't want to have when we start a partnership or a collaboration.
Asking those questions. They're on the screen. She's also asking those questions. If one dies, God forbid, we don't want that. Have you thought about that, Edves?
Yeah, that's part of our agreement. It's part of the
so,
we might not be able to go into detail of that, but we have that documented, honest, and it's understood by the two of us. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is the point of these conversations that we have. They are tough conversations. There are things we don't want to talk about. For instance, there's a clause called the force majeure clause, and it's something that a lot of people have been talking about because of COVID-19, because a lot of contracts have had to be suspended or terminated because of this kind of COVID-19 that we didn't know it would ever happen, but it happened. But you know, that's the point of having a proper agreement in place. It's going to state all these things. It's going to look at all possible scenarios that can go on in a collaboration, in a partnership, and you're going to decide. Both parties are going to decide. That's why I said agreement is very key. They're going to decide and say, if this happens, what are we going to do? How are you going to resolve it? So if retirement, I can see a question here from my senior learned colleague, and she's saying, she's asking about incapacitation, about retirement, about what if someone falls ill? What if someone dies? These are the things that you would have to conversations about and put in your agreement. That's why it's very important that you have all these documentations in place. Now, drafting an agreement, meetings towards having an agreement. There are things that are lengthy. They take time. So sometimes people don't want to do it because they want to just start the business, make the money, and then we pray nothing bad goes wrong or whatever. So let's just make this money. We don't want to have this stuff conversations, but they are very important. It's very important we have them and then we document them. Documentation is very key.
Okay, so Ms. Grace is asking that if you don't know who to collaborate with, I think you don't know to just do your own thing until you find somebody. But if you don't have somebody to collaborate with, what do you say to that?
If you don't have someone to collaborate and you are in need of collaborators, what exactly what do you need in those people? So maybe that might be a good place to start. Okay, maybe you need some certain form of competence or expertise or skills, or maybe you need someone who can give you access to a network. What you need exactly is where you start from first before you start now looking for the person that has the qualities. And of course, if you are proposing a collaboration, it's very important that you are proposing what is favorable to both you and the other parties. It won't be a one-sided thing. So the person is getting something from it. You are getting, you're getting benefits from it. The person is also benefiting from it. And of course, you do all your due diligence. We can't overemphasize that. You have to do your due diligence, and then you have to make sure that you agree on all the necessary things you should agree upon, and it's properly documented. So that is what I would say.
So we can't stress enough about agreements. We can't stress enough about just tidying up our documents. So we can't stress enough. So I just want everybody to give us 1 minute of their time to talk about informal collaborations. So we have informal collaborations. I've collaborated informally with Edves on many accounts. I go to their Edves Catalyst conference. I speak there. I collaborate because I believe in their solution. Collaboration is what I'm doing with Sister Nike Ajayi now because I love the family so much. You know, we are collaborating, Tosin, because you are also bringing solutions to something that can help the educational system. So we are all partnering as educators at this time in one capacity or the other. We are giving value to the world. Now, how do we manage envy? How do we manage jealousy? How do we manage, okay, this person wants to be visible more than me. You know, we're in the same group. So I'm not talking about money now. Let's leave money matters. So we are all saying, oh, we're educators, we're in the same group. And then you have situations where, so maybe Dara is doing his own, everybody, A, B, C, D, E, they're doing their own. And then E comes and says, okay, everybody come under my group. Be doing your own, but come under my group. So that at the end of the day, they get the glory. There's this insecurity. There's this glorying, vain thing that people seem to like from my observation. So even if you're doing your own, they still want to take the glory. When people are in a group, maybe a 100 group or even more, there's a movement and you people are trying to push forward an agenda. And the thing is, if you're in a group, you cannot bring out, you cannot You cannot support 1,000 people on your timeline. For example, if 1,000 people are creating solutions, you can't really put 1,000 people every day. You'll be posting the people, different people in your group. How can they collaborate as a group without conflict, without jealousy? This is informal. There's no money making here now, but we still have problems. There's no money making here. You will get your money for the job that you do, but people still want to be, they want to be on the front line. They want to be seen to be the one doing it. You know, I don't get it. I hope, number one, my question is clear. And please give me 1 minute of your time to tell me, how can we collaborate, you know, on social media, for example? How can I be supportive of somebody? So the way I show support, if you call me to come and speak at your event, for example, depending on who you are, I will not send you a document and tell you that this is my rate, because I'm just going to do it because for the sake of it. However, some people will call me to their schools to speak to their parents. You will pay. No, I'm going to take your parent for. You pay. If you want to talk about parenting, you will pay. So there are some things that I will do that you will pay that they are monetized, and there are some things that are not monetized. How do we manage on social media when you're in somebody's group and then all of a sudden they want to pack the people in your group instead of working together, growing together? You know, there's so many entities that are representing different things. What can we do? So let me give everybody 1 minute each. I will start with Darren, then I'll start with a lady. So I will start with Tosin, then I will start with Darren, then I will start with Mr. Ajayi, then Dimeji. So let's go.
Okay, so social media is a big thing now, and I totally I have seen scenarios like this play out. But for some of the groups that I belong to and that I have seen what works is basically that the leaders of the group, they always harp on what their vision for that group, so everyone is aware about it, and then they have a way they organize activities in the group. All right. So it's there's no time for, maybe there are some petty conversations going on, or I might not know anyway, but on the surface anyway, everything looks good, everyone is fine. We're working towards the interest of the group and things are moving on smoothly. So we can't when it comes to human beings, when we have different people, we won't know what is in everybody's mind. And of course, we come from different backgrounds. We've had different life experiences. So we cannot rule out things like this happening. But the thing is, we focus on the goal. Those who would go along with the goal will still be in the group. Those who would go along, they might fall, they might go away, maybe get carried away by other people or other groups, and all that might happen. But we'll just focus on the reason why we're in the group. I think that would be my own solution to it. Let's just focus on the vision ahead. So that's my take.
Thank you, Tosin, for your take. Okay, let's talk to Mr. and Mrs. Ajayi. What do you say, Mr. and Mrs. Ajayi?
For me, we see this often. And what I want to say is that in a group of people, we have the ones that are seemingly weak, seemingly strong, seemingly bare, seemingly whole. But whatever it is, I'll talk about when everybody is busy fulfilling their individual purpose. I don't think you have time to think that somebody wants to steal from you. And obviously you will have some that, regardless of whatever you're doing, their own is not enough. So when you realize that people like that are there, and you are the stronger one, there are times that you, the stronger one, you have to step aside for the and give strength to those ones that have identified that they need to tap from your wealth of strength. You pull them to yourself, step aside, give them the shine to shine, put them on your own strength. And anyway, before you do that, you know what they stand for. We've talked so much about the values. You see some, they have similar values, but they are not there yet. Step aside for them to use you to come up. At that point, we are collaborating. And you, as the one that has the strength, you also have other network that are probably higher than that you are looking up to. Because life is interrelated. So we can't take this away from in different industries I have mentors, I have mentees. But with the chain of mentee, mentorship, and all that, we should recognize that we have the similar values. Once we identify them, we'll keep to that. Once we identify the ones that are toxic, we kick them out, or they are able to and willing to learn the values we stand for.
Awesome,
I think
thank you.
one of the major
Okay,
okay.
go on, Pastor.
I think one of the major problems about informal collaboration is insecurity. I mean, some
Exactly,
people
that's
they
why I
have
put
this
it on there. Absolutely.
insecurity. That's some people they have this kind of insecurity or there is complex that if I should allow this, they may take my place, and this is not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. When everybody has his own. You have your role. You have a place you need to
Shine,
cover. You have people that are your follower. You have people that will listen to you. Everybody will have space to occupy. So there's no point for us to allow insecurity to begin to allow us to defy informal collaboration.
Wonderful. I think you hit it so well, because I definitely know that insecurity is a challenge. So thank you both so much for that. Please give us 30 seconds of any product or event that you have coming up. 30 seconds.
A part of what we do together is marriage and counseling. We focus on the singles, the newlyweds, and up to like 10 years. So we have events for them at IG, the post-wedding counselor, every Friday. Every Friday, except we have special programs that clashing with the church activity. But every Friday on Realm, Relationship Essentials and Life, that's on Facebook, that's Realm, and on IG, the post-wedding counselor. And we have a personal,
And the
professionally,
on YouTube.
yeah, on YouTube. Then professionally, we have personal counseling period. We are professional counselors on marriage and relationship.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go over to Tosin. Tosin, please tell us. Okay, Tosin, no, Tosin, you told us already. Sorry, my mistake. I'm getting old. So I have. Did I say that? John, I don't even know the order. So just ignore this old woman here. I'm not old. So Darren, what do you have to say about informal collaborations?
Well, you mentioned the fact that coming together with a group of persons, and you realize that they are trying to maybe take all the glory, or trying to take your followers. I think one thing I would just like to say is that regardless of whatever collaboration you are doing, there's the you part. I'm Dari, and I'm not Dimeji. Some people will prefer to associate with Dimeji. Some people will prefer to associate with Dari. It doesn't matter what I do. They just like my.
But you get jealous, eh? You look like you get jealous. You look like you get jealous.
I don't have to get jealous, because we are two different people in as much as we are partners. Yeah, and I'm sure that is obvious to anybody that knows.
So does it make you get jealous? Jealousy.
So what I just want to say is that just know that when you are in such kind of groups, just know that you are you, and people will like you for who you are, and people will like other persons for who they are. And if for any reason you feel like it's a waste of time you being in such kind of, it's informal in the first place, so there's nothing really binding you there, then you can either make your observations known, and then, or if your observation has not taken, then you just let it be, and you focus on what you have that you're already doing before now. Thank you.
Let's come back up on screen. This conversation can actually go on for a long time. If anybody has learned the most from here, it is definitely me, because I have learned so much. I even wish I was not the anchor of this thing, so I can just sit down and taking notes. If you notice, I'm looking down, and my notebook is just full of all sorts of things. I've just been learning. I've learned so much. So if anybody's saying thank you, it is from me first. God bless you. You don't know what you have done for sectors, especially the educational system. And I know that even though we've had so many people join today, in and out, a lot more people are still going to watch the replay for years to come. So thank you for doing this for humanity. You haven't told us about your product, Tosin. You haven't told us about your product, Advest. Before we do our 1 minute sign off. So, who wants to go for the Advest? Oh, Dimitri, you go. No, you go. Abby.
So, okay.
I just love, I always tell women, I'm sorry, I might be one of those, I always tell women, I said there's some decisions that you can, I know that somebody going to slap me now. I said, there's some decisions that you can make without your husband. I want to tell me that, like, why are you asking me? Maybe my own decision is weird, but it's a different conversation. That there's some decisions you can make without your husband. Because they're just simple decisions. You should be that you know the husband. I'm sure that the Ajayis will agree with me. So what I said, it's all actually okay. Oh, let me just check with Jare. Oh, let me check with the Meiji. I'm like, come on, Joe. That kind of stuff. Anyway, back to the matter. So Dare, please talk to us.
So, Rogeposh, you can't crucify us for some of those things, especially when it has to come with time. He has his own schedule. I have my own schedule. So if you want to see the two of us together, then I definitely have to check with him.
I'm not pulling your legs. Calm down, mommy, okay. Calm down, daddy, calm down.
So yeah. So Advest is an education technology company, and majorly our goal is to automate processes in the education sector, learning processes, day-to-day processes in schools. We want to be that go-to company. Whenever you think of the fact that I want things to be organized in my school, I want to go digital, then Advest is the go-to company. So we've been working with a lot of schools, Le Posh, Grace School, Atlantic Hall, Temple School. We have over 500 schools we're working with in Nigeria, and just this year we launched in Ghana as well. So if you're looking for a learning management system, or you're looking for a school management system, or you want to automate one process or the other in your school, please call on us. We're your go-to guys. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think that was pretty easy anyway, because you already said you are the marketing person. So I was checking if you're going to go, oh, to Major, should I go? Should I go to Major? So let's do our 1 minute final. Who hasn't spoken about the product? I think we all have. Tosin hasn't. So Tosin, what is it that you have coming up for us? Sound.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was talking to myself. Okay, I said I share a lot of helpful legal content for business owners. Like I said, when we started, I said there's a knowledge gap for entrepreneurs and for business owners when it comes to the legal aspects of their business. And so having identified that, I share a lot of legal content that would help business owners know what legal aspects of their business they should take serious, what steps they should take. And I do that on all my social media handles. So my social media handle on Instagram is legaltosin_. And on Facebook, I have a Facebook page called Legal Tosin. All right. So you do well to go and check out my social media handles. You're going to see a lot. In fact, I've been doing a series on partnerships and collaborations a couple of weeks back. You will see a lot of my posts where I talked about what you should look out for, what you should include in your partnership agreement, the 12 questions that you need to ask, how to choose business partner, and all whatnot. So my goal is to make legal information for entrepreneurs simplified, so that it doesn't seem like something so big that we can't really understand, and then that looks like Greek to us. I make it really easy and simple for us, so we don't run into legal mistakes in running our business. So it's been a pleasure to be here to share my knowledge with everyone. Thank you for giving me the platform.
Thanks for being here. We're not done yet. We're going to do our 1 minute finals, but I forgot, and may God never forget any of us, to bring the Meiji to give us his advice about informal social media collaborations. So informal, who am I bringing up the screen? This is easy, it's not easy. It's not easy. So the Meiji, fire on please, informal collaborations.
Okay, for me, I believe that we cannot do without collaborating informally.
Hang on.
Okay, so we cannot do without collaborating informally. It's not every time we have to sign an agreement before we work together in one way or the other, especially non-profit venture, and even on some profit venture. Sometimes we just have to work based on the support. But I think if there is a call to collaborate in any way, someone has a platform and the person has called you to be a part of it. You need to first of all check if you are the type that pray before you take a decision. Then you need to pray about it, and you need to check to know what am I adding to this program. And then if I'm really going to be adding a lot of value to this program, then I will say yes, and I will make sure that I try all my best to add value to that program. And even there are some programs that people have invited me to that I had to even take up to even redesign the flyer for the program and even support in different ways. But I make sure that I don't share trade secrets of our company. I don't share information that has to do with client information. And I make sure that I don't try to share any information about our source code. So these three things, I always keep them away, and I try as much as possible to support that program. So if the person now now want to take some of my maybe followers or client or any form, but that would have been considered myself even before going into that. Somebody that is building a software cannot call me to say, Dimeji, come and talk on our program, because there will be a need for me to share some trade secret that might not be good enough for my own business. And talking about jealousy and envy, these two things are actually part of the works of the flesh, which personally in my own value system, I rebuke people that have jealous and envy around me. Even if I see a sign of that in any of our staff, I rebuke them, I talk to them, I talk straight to them, because jealousy and envy can never ever produce good fruits. They are always going to remain the works of the flesh. Talking about the value again, so the person you are working with, the person you are trying to collaborate with, and if there is any sign of it, even if you have not seen it before, maybe along the line you're trying to work with somebody and the person is jealous of you and things like that, add a lot of value to that program, be honest about it, and just pull out. So that's my own. Thank you very much.
That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you for that. I've now changed your name, so you can see your name on the screen.
No, I'm just Dimeji. I mean, if you want to respect me, brother Dimeji, but I'm not brother. I'm just Dimeji.
From now, it's Pastor Dimeji.
No, I'm just Dimeji.
The Posh School. I hope you guys are hearing.
I'm just an ordinary software developer.
Yeah, and you are too serious. You guys need to have some fun. You're always too serious. You guys. Anyway, it's known that tech guys are usually very techie. You guys don't like to play. You guys need to calm down and play. All these things I'm doing, I'm just playing, because my own value system, one of my own value system is to have fun. What I'm doing now, I'm enjoying myself. So fun is, so I will always pull your legs. You can't get away from that. People that know me know that I'm a troublemaker when it comes to creating fun, and fun is part of our value. Maybe that's why I like working with my preschoolers. So our final words, please, because we're never going to finish this thing. We can be here till 8 o'clock. In all honesty, it's such an amazing time. And I can tell you, thank you so much. I know you're busy. I'm busy. Normally, this show is at 4 o'clock. We normally have this meeting at 4 o'clock. I couldn't, because I also have a meeting that I have to attend to as soon as I finished it. I thought I would be done by 1:30. But look how it has been a blessing to me and to people around us. And I'm sure even the people on the panel, they've also, you've also picked up one thing or the other. Or even if you know it already, you will have been reminded that, my honey, because I can see Mr. and Mrs. Ajayi picking their faces, kissing each other when we're in the backstage, and like, all the sort of things. At least we are reminded of something. Even Tosi now knows that these are the pressing issues that she needs to be talking about on social media. So in one capacity or the other, we have received value. I'm going to call you to say thank you, but I'm saying it now publicly. You guys have done an amazing job. Thank you so much, and God bless you so much. So let's start with the order in which I see people on my own screen. So Legal Tosin, what is your last 1 minute for us? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. It's It's been a wonderful time of learning on this platform and of also sharing knowledge. So my final words will be: we shouldn't be scared of collaborations. Collaborations are fun. They can be interesting. We've had practical life examples on the session today. As long as we just make sure that we do the right thing and we make sure all the legal framework are in place, we are good to go. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So, Dimeji, please give us your own 1 minute.
Okay, I think about 5%
Brother Dimeji,
business,
sorry.
new business before the but 95% businesses die before the clock 5, and even in the business of schools are struggling. To prevent continuous death of businesses, I think collaboration is key, is needed. But in collaboration, be the kind of person you would like to partner with. See the positive side of be ready to create positive, to add positively to the person you want to collaborate with. The moment you start thinking of, I have my ulterior motive, I have my strategy to actually um, take more than what the other person wants to take, then you are creating a problem even before you start. Try to be truthful at all times, and then you will attract the right set of people. And if you see that the other person is not truthful, it is good to just say bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, so you have heard it from Dimeji. It says we should be truthful. So thank you so much. So Mr. and Ms. Ajayi, you will be next in line to tell us your own last 1 minute.
Well, thank you for bringing us up in this wonderful program, and we want to appreciate you and God bless you in Jesus' name. You see, well, the thing is that as much as legal documents and other things are very nice, they are very good, but the fact is that in collaboration, there's some things we need to put in place: trust, agreements, and people with same values. These things are very key, and we need to put them in agreement. We need to put them on the table so that we can move on. But we see a lot of people with agreement and legal documentation fail in businesses. But we have these values in place, moving forward and going places in our collaboration will be fantastic, and we all do well. So that is just my final word. I don't know, maybe my wife might have one or two things to say. Okay. Thank you very much, Poch. We appreciate you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. You already know that I can't say it enough.
Yeah, we love
So
you
let's bring
too. We love you.
the Meiji, and we'll just go on mute. No, not the Meiji, Dari. Sorry about that. You see, you guys, you see, and you're both
So
wearing blue. This adverse color blue. Everything, you just make it more complex for people to even know the difference between both of you.
we're trying as much as possible to promote the brand. So
Okay.
I think we cannot overemphasize the value system, because before you can collaborate with someone, you guys must have the same value systems. You must have the same principles guiding your decision making and the way you see life and the way you want to see the business. Then I think another very good thing that has been working out for us is watching each other's back, even beyond the business. So it's very important for you to know that, oh, my partner has my interest at heart, even in other things that doesn't have to do about business. So I'm doing this thing for my car. You can also do it for your car. It will help you. You know, it doesn't have anything to do about the business. I think that works a lot. And then, Legal Tosin mentioned, knowing what aspect each person is coming to play on the business or on the project, I think is very, very key. And what each person stands to gain, so that there are no surprises. Surprises can be very, very bad. So I think these are my take home for today. Thank you.
Mute. I think
Ronke Posh, we cannot hear you. Ronke Posh, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm doing it again. If I haven't done it in one show, then that show has not been anointed. I must talk to myself all the time. I don't know why I do that. So I must repeat and say that thank you all so much. God bless you. Yeah, it's so important that I stress that I value your time, because time these days is just so important to everybody. I thank you for giving of your time for humanity. Another thing is that this show is usually about an hour and a half maximum. But from the looks of things, we've been here since 2:30. That is 2 hours. I don't take it for granted. But I know that it's something that is bugging a lot of people. So I know the value that this conversation is having on everyone in the society. So thank you very much. I'm going to drop the Edverse link in case I haven't dropped it if I haven't dropped it properly. Just give me a second, please, so that you can connect with them, please. Connect with Edverse, connect with everybody. I've tried to put links everywhere. So thank you, and we are saying our goodbye. Everyone is saying goodbye. We love you. We appreciate you. We wish you successful collaborations, because it's a 21st century thing to do. And we pray that you have successful collaborations like the people that we have seen here today. May God help us with our collaborations, myself included, because I want to collaborate. I really want to. See, if I collaborated at Le Poche School, sometimes, the stress that I go through, I always feel like it's just, oh, Derek, please help me. Oh, Dimeji, please help me. I just want, that kind of thing. But thank God I have my husband to lament to. But it's always good. You can scale up, especially when you have similar skill sets. So I know that we've got a lot of value. Ayodele, thank you for joining us all the way from the UK. Fina, so many people from around the world have joined us today. I can't call everybody. I'm going to offend somebody if I don't call somebody. But I thank you. Yes, a lot of value. Thank you so much, Favor, for joining. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. No waving goodbye. Have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely weekend. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Next week, we have a hot topic coming up. And it's going to be boom, 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 really, really hot. Darren, you haven't subscribed. You made this subscribe this morning. Okay, see you all. Bye.